Hello Fantasy Faithfuls and welcome to the CSD Fantasy live stream. We already have games going on today, so it's going to be a jam-packed day. Please feel free to update me what's going on in the Carolina versus Tampa Bay game in London. Appreciate that a ton as I don't have the score up in front of me. But don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this live stream. It helps me a ton with growing the channel to provide even more and better content. And if you have it, please share on social media to get even more people on board. Again, it helps with growing the channel. And as I always like to ask, I hope the sound and video quality is fantastic today. If you can't see, I've done some changes to the studio in here. And I hope you like that, and that looks a little bit better than it's done in the past. Let's see what we got. Mellow fan 1, 2, 3, 4. You've been in here for a while. We've been having a fun discussion about the Pats defense and Mike Evans. Awesome to see you as always. We got Wesley. I don't have Nick here, but I'm gonna try to. I don't know how he does the W. I think that's a pretty decent W. What's up, Fatty Beats? How's it going? You traded Diggs and Cohen for James White and Mike Williams in PPR. Thoughts? I don't like Mike Williams, but I don't like Diggs. Cohen has been weak and James White has been looking good, so I think that's a pretty decent trade. I think you came out the winner in that one. Let's actually get it up on the screen so we can talk about it a little bit more. He's on bye, so that's fine. Williams, and so we can't see his ceiling. That's a big mistake on my part. I need to change that. I missed one. James White. So you traded up to get 2 higher floors, which is fantastic. Can't see the ceiling of Tariq Cohen, but I believe it's about the same as Mike Williams or James White, roughly. Strength of schedule, you got a better schedule for your running back with the 4th best compared to the 14th. And your wide receiver have the 23rd best schedule compared to Diggs' 31st. So I think you upgraded pretty much all across the board, and I'm glad you did, Fatty. What we got here going on? We should probably tweet out that we're live first before I do anything. Bam. And get the show on the road. There we go. That's live. Next question. We got Wesley with Melvin Gordon or Malcolm Brown. Melvin Gordon or Malcolm Brown. Let's see what I got. 8.8 for Brown. Lot of risk. Low floor. Lower ceiling than Gordon. Toughest opponent in the league right now for running backs in San Francisco. I would actually run Melvin Gordon over Malcolm Brown right now. I think he's a little overhyped, and I don't like to jump on the train of RB2s going bananas as soon as their RB1 is out. I think the comments on Melvin Gordon was that he was going to get more touches, which is encouraging. He already had majority of rushes, even though Eckler got touchdowns and the pass attempts. I think Gordon is about to take over more and more as the season go on. That's why I've been so adamant about getting players like Devin Singletary, David Montgomery, Rojo, and players like that on my teams where I have Austin Eckler to try to hedge against him losing touches. So I will go Melvin Gordon in this one. I don't like the risk with Brown, and I don't like the floor at all. Fighter Beats, you need 2 running backs with Kenyon Drake, Malcolm Brown, and Jordan Howard. Howard and Kenyon Drake. I don't think it's going to be Kenyon Drake. No, it's not. It's not. It can't be. 6.6 ceiling as a RB1. Are you kidding me? He has a pretty nice opponent. The other 2 had more difficult ones. But even though I don't like Howard, as I've mentioned before on the stream and throughout the year, I prefer Howard over the other 2, and I prefer Brown over Drake by quite a lot. I don't want Drake pretty much any game if I can avoid it. He's not looking that good. And when he was looking good for a drive or so against the Cowboys, well, here's a fumble in the red zone. He just doesn't have anybody to block for him as well, which is a huge problem. When they traded Smokey McSmoke. No, what's his name? Laremy Tunsil. To the Texans. So I prefer Brown and Jordan Howard. Wesley says sit 2 with Scary Terry, Terry McLaurin, Tevin Coleman, Melvin Gordon, or Malcolm Brown in PPR. I keep forgetting that little L in there. There we go. The only reason I kind of know how to spell Malcolm is Malcolm in the middle. Other than that, it's very unusual name where I come from. Sit 2 of these in PPR. I got 4 receptions for Melvin Gordon. So he, in PPR, definitely you playing him over Brown, not just standard. 1 reception for Tevin Coleman with 11.7 points. So I kind of want to play Tevin Coleman against the Rams. And I definitely want to start Terry against Miami with 5 receptions. So I'm starting Tevin Coleman, and it's Coleman, McLaurin, sitting Gordon and Brown, but I got Gordon over Brown. Yes. McLaurin, Coleman, Gordon, Brown in that order in PPR. That was Wesley. So Melvin down 63 points. Okay. He has Christian McCaffrey, Evans, and Mahomes. He has Mahomes, Ridley, Delanie Walker, Gallup, and Jake Elliott. My team is Freeman, Bell, Juju, Minshew, Redskins, Greg Sirlin, and TJ Hawkinson. You might have to take a loss on this one. You might have to take a loss on this one, Mello. Whew. That's nasty. Not so much Ridley and Walker, but Ridley is playing the Cardinals. What do I got Ridley for? 6.2, not that great, but a 15.9 ceiling. Pretty low boom chance. Okay, I'm not too high on him. Delanie Walker, 3.6, but tight ends, 3.6 isn't terrible for tight ends at the moment. It's all about that 12.1 ceiling. Not the best of opponents. But Michael Gallup, I have him for 11.9. I'm starting him pretty much everywhere. And Jake Elliott is usually pretty highly ranked for me. Oh, only 5.5. But CMC and Evans and Mahomes, especially. Didn't he have the Pats defense? I feel like you said that earlier. And you got Juju. I'm not too high on Juju Smith-Schuster without a quarterback. I am excited about Gardner Minshew. He has a ton of risk, but he's looking pretty good, and 4th best opponent for a quarterback to play right now. So if he has a big game, Greg the Leg can always have a big game. Redskins defense, I have them in DFS, so I think they're gonna do better than people expect, especially since it's Miami. Devonta Freeman, I'm playing him in if it's Devonta in DFS as well, with that 12 ceiling, 6.4 boom chance. Not the best of opponents, but he was very cheap. So you might catch up a little bit, but I believe Mahomes is still my number 1 quarterback this week. Yeah, pretty much. He's going to be number 1 quarterback pretty much every week. So, I mean, that's just the world we live in right now, where the Chiefs had the highest scoring quarterback week in and week out. That's just the world we live in. What happened to Alex Smith? But Fatty Beats asks, and at flex, Jarvis Landry or whichever back you didn't pick. Okay, Jarvis Landry and whichever back I didn't pick. That was Kenyon Drake, right? Up there. Kenyon Drake, Malcolm Brown, Jordan Howard. Yes. Also need 2 running backs, and I benched Drake. I prefer Jarvis Landry over Kenyon Drake. Even though he has a tougher opponent in the Seahawks, but he has a higher floor, higher ceiling. No bust chance. The boom chance isn't incredible, but, 23% chance of being above 6.6. Are you excited about that? Not really. I'm more excited about 7.7 to be above 12.8. And only 47% risk of being below 7.9 compared to 80 being below 6.4. So it's all leaning towards Landry and in PPR as well, because I can't remember if it was a PPR question. But Landry over Drake, definitely. Wesley, Alshon Jeffrey. This one is interesting. Alshon Jeffrey or Malcolm Brown. Before we do that one, I'll see some more people join in on the chat. Luis, welcome. As always, so happy to see you. And I see you down there. Sleek, what's up? Sleek, it rhymes with week. If you've read the Game of Thrones books. Alshon Jeffrey or Malcolm Brown. That's a low projection for Jeffrey. Not the highest of floors, higher ceiling. No bust chance. I have a bust chance. Not the highest of boom chance for Malcolm Brown. Still a very tough opponent for Brown. In PPR, I would go Jeffrey. In standard, I would go Malcolm Brown. Even though he has the higher risk. He's a running back, 8.8 projection versus 6.5 is low. It is really low. And both of them have tough opponents. So, sure, it's a 10 rank, 11 rank difference, but it's still extremely difficult for both of them with Minnesota and San Francisco. So in standard, I would go Malcolm Brown over Jeffrey, but in PPR, I would go Jeffrey over Brown. That was Wesley. Let's see what Luis says. Good morning, afternoon. Having a hard time deciding between San Francisco DST or Seattle DST due to their opponents this week. Any recommendations? Yes. I believe I have the Seahawks higher ranked. That was a big fat lie. I have the 49ers extremely highly ranked, 9.7 with lower risk, higher floor, higher ceiling, almost no bust chance of being below that floor. Decent boom chance for both, especially for the Seahawks. 8.3 points given up per game by the Rams, 7.8 by Cleveland, so they rank as the 10th best opponent versus the 7th best opponent. So even when the Rams put up points, they tend to throw a pick or 3. So I would roll with the 49ers, especially with how their defense is looking at the moment. They're playing a good offense, but like I said, they tend to have a couple of picks in there. A couple of sacks is most likely with that offensive line. So I would go with the 49ers over Seattle Seahawks, even though I'm playing Seahawks in DFS and I believe in 2 of my leagues as well, but I could not get my hands on anything better, and they're extremely cheap in DFS if you play FanDuel this week. The Seahawks is a good cheap option. Mello says, Curtis Sam, if you don't want to know the score to the Panthers game, I guess that's going to be an issue. But Curtis Samuel just got a 20-yard touchdown, 33-10 Panthers, 34-10. Oh, shit. That's a big blowout. I didn't believe it was going to be that big. Anything new happened in that game? Touchdown, Brait. And Evans caught sorry about that. Evans caught 2-point conversion. That's good for me. As I'm an Evans owner, a little bit here and there. Before we move forward, if you enjoyed this live stream, please hit that like button and share on social media. It helps this channel a ton and helps me create even more and better content for y'all. I appreciate it a ton. And let's do a couple more shout outs because I see Agent joined in the chat. So happy to see you. And Eden, what's up? Happy to have both y'all here. And we got another question. No, we got Sleek's first question of the day. Hello again. What's up? DJ Shark or Kenny Golladay full point PPR? DJ Shark, Sharknado, or Kenny Golladay? It will definitely be DJ Shark because I already know that. Kenny has 9.1 versus 13.9, which is incredible. Higher floor, higher ceiling, lower bust chance, almost the same boom chance. Easier opponent for Shark, and in PPR, I have both of them for 5 receptions. So 19 in total versus 14 in total for Golladay. Sharknado continues to destroy Los Angeles. I don't know. It's the second one in New York. Can't remember. First one is definitely LA. And we got Wesley, Aaron Rodgers without Devontae Adams or Minshew. We had a discussion about this on the Fantasy Rabbit Hole on Wednesday. Gardner Minshew. What am I doing? Gardner Minshew. There we go. We had a discussion about this earlier in the week on the Fantasy Rabbit Hole on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. You can check out our podcast / live stream. You can ask questions, but we also try to keep it relevant for people who watch it on demand as well. And we said we wanted Gardner Minshew this week, and I tend to agree with that. He has a higher projection. He has higher risk, but that's something you have to take with him right now. But his floor is 16.8, and his ceiling it's 21.6. So, you do want those 20-something points. He has a great opponent this week. Aaron Rodgers has a tougher opponent, even though Detroit is a pretty decent one. 4 quarterbacks is not fantastic like it is for the Saints. So I would roll Gardner Minshew over Aaron Rodgers. It's a weird one, but this is fantasy. Rodgers keeps winning football games, but Minshew keeps scoring more in fantasy. Rodgers didn't put up that much with Devontae Adams on the field, and he hasn't put up without Devontae on the field. So I prefer Minshew in fantasy right now, which is, it feels so wrong, but it also feels kind of right with him throwing a quarter mile. We got, where are we right now? Eden, what up? Hey, bud, big question. Standard scoring, need 2. Stephon Diggs, Larry Fitzgerald, Duke Johnson, Malcolm Brown, and Kick It Cootie. There we go. Malcolm Brown. So before we do that, let's take a sip of the coffee. And see what we got. You need 2 in standard scoring. I am going to go with Brown, who has the highest prediction. These guys all have pretty high risks. He has a lower floor, but the second highest ceiling. Fitz has the highest floor and the highest ceiling, so I'm going with him as well with the second highest projection. Easiest opponent out there right now in Atlanta. They can't defend to save their life. How did they look in running defense? 24th. Okay, they can't defend a pass to save their life. That's what I should say. But I would go Larry Fitzgerald, and I would go Malcolm Brown. Kick it, not excited. Duke Johnson, decent, but only decent. And Stephon Diggs, I'm trying to stay away from as much as possible. Only 4.9 prediction, not high risk, but high risk considering the low projection. Low floor, almost no ceiling. Should be a much higher boom chance when the ceiling is that low for a player of his caliber, especially playing the Eagles, who are the 6th best opponent for wide receivers. I can't do it. I'm going Fitz and Brown on this one, and I would be very happy starting both of them compared to any of the other ones. We got Agent asking about Scary Terry or DJ Shark. I have Shark extremely highly ranked right now. Like, extremely. 13.9 projection. He has a higher risk than Terry. That's fine, but they pretty much have the same floor. Shark has such a high ceiling. Even though McLaurin has a higher boom chance, it's 7-point difference in ceiling. A little bit easier opponent for Shark with them giving up 8th most points to wide receiver. They have shut down wide receiver once, though. That's something to keep in mind. But I still prefer Shark over McLaurin. This is standard, so don't even have to go that way. I would still go Sharknado over McLaurin. Kind of ride that train as far as it will take you with Minshew Shark right now, and see what the Jaguars do if they all of a sudden decide to put Fultz back in, which I think would be stupid when he comes back. I think it's not the same, but it's sort of the same with Romo Dak, where you have a young guy playing really well. Why would you make the switch to go with the older guy? I know you're paying Fultz like a superstar, but he really isn't. He's better than Blake Bortles, but I feel like that Super Bowl is sort of his Flacco moment, where he will still be in the league and still getting paid because what he did once. But I would go Shark over McLaurin. How many points do I think Larry Fitzgerald would get in PPR from Mello? Gerald, bam. In PPR, I have him for 6 receptions, so I have him predicted for 14 in PPR, which is pretty darn good. That means that his ceiling in PPR would be somewhere around 18, 19, but with a boom chance of 10.6 still, and that adds up. That's a pretty good boom chance for a pretty high ceiling and an easy opponent. So if he's having a fantastic game in PPR, you can end up getting 22, 23. I would say that's his ceiling in PPR right now against the Falcons, and you should be very happy with that. Especially considering how many points you need to score this week, Mello. We got Sean Daughtery. Welcome to the stream. So happy to have you on board. We got Chris Thompson versus Miami or Brandon Cooks. Chris Thompson or Brandon Cooks in full point PPR. I got Thompson high projected, very high risk for him though in with that 11.1 projection versus 38 for 7.3. They have roughly the same floor, high ceiling, but look at that 14% boom chance against Miami. Easiest opponent. I've him predicted for 5 receptions versus Brandon Cooks. Four is pretty decent, but I'm definitely going Chris Thompson in PPR, even though he has 96.5% risk. With the PPR points, I'm not that worried. I don't know if y'all have seen, but I'm started to put out fantasy thoughts on Instagram over the week, and Chris Thompson was one of my highlighted players. I believe that he is a 1-week wonder this week against Miami, and after that you should probably try to drop him, or at least don't try to start him week in and week out. But for week 6, he's a fantastic opportunity for you to score big, especially in PPR. So I think you should start Chris Thompson over Brandon Cooks in PPR this week. Even though I've always been a huge Brandon Cooks fan, yeah, I think Chris Thompson is the better start. No problem, Sean. Happy to have you on board. If you enjoyed this stream, please come back, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. That goes for everybody. And please share on social media. It helps me create even more and better content for y'all and keep this show on the road. It also helped me increase the quality of this show. If you can see, I've changed the studio with some awesome new effects here behind me. So I hope you enjoy that as well, to get the quality of the show up a little bit better. Just invested in a mic arm that goes here, so the sound is a little bit better than it was before as well. Where was I? We got Adrian Peterson or Chase Edmonds standard. Oof. This is going to be Oh, he's actually predicted for 7.3. I did not believe it was that high. Chase Edmonds. They've said that David Johnson is playing, right? Or did I dream that? Because if he's not playing, I've done some new fun things to the algorithm where I analyze how many points the running back won and touches and all that fun stuff, and then all of a sudden the projection goes up for the RB2. So it's a new fun thing, and that's why Malcolm Brown has such a high risk with a high projection. I haven't figured out how to adjust the risk, but I feel like that's less important, as the risk should probably be pretty high for a RB2 that all of a sudden gets a bump in his projection. So for me, Adrian Peterson is the better play on this one, especially with David Johnson in the mix. Easiest opponent in the league. And hopefully he can get some more carries than he's had the other games. This might be sort of the same situation as Chris Thompson, where it's a 1 week wonder, and you should start Adrian Peterson against Miami and then move away from him. I'm not starting him over Philip Lindsay, Mark Ingram, or Austin Eckler this week. I own him in one league. I wanted to make a bad joke about hitting people, so I drafted him. It's a terrible person. But I will go Adrian Peterson this week. Mello, punt return fumble, Panthers ball at the 23rd, and Kirk is not playing. Okay. We got Clamped EZ. Welcome to stream. So happy to have you on board. Alvin Kamara. Is Kamara the right pronunciation, or is it Kamara? I'm still confused. Kerryon Johnson, Dalvin Cook, or Aaron Jones. Pick 3. Holy crap, you're stacked at running back, Clamped. How did you even get this? This is like first round pick, second round pick, third round pick, fourth round pick? No? I'm gonna move them around, and you can explain if this is the correct one. Did you draft them 1, 2, 3, 4 in this order? Because that's pretty incredible. If you have any wide receiver depth after having those 4 running backs, that's a. Please let me know what you have at the wide receiver position, quarterback, and tight end in the chat as well. I would love to see that. I love when people have leagues where it's just bonkers in one position, and then you find like value with someone like DJ Chark, and you're stacked at your team just because you went heavy on one position, and then I don't want to say lucky, but you got a guy that just booms way more than anybody expected on another position. I love seeing stuff like that. Russell, what? Julio Godwin and oh my lord. What? In what round did you get Julio? And then Godwin, is that like your 7th round pick? I know I'm getting off track. Pick 3 of these 3. Kamara, Cook, and Aaron Jones all have the best projections with the lowest risk. Kerryon has a higher floor than Aaron Jones and Alvin Kamara, but he's so far behind in ceiling. I do like Kerryon this week thanks to playing the Packers. But Aaron Jones plays the 6th best opponent for running backs right now, and Kamara plays the 5th. Dalvin Cook is a must-start everywhere. I'm not benching him even though he's playing the 5th worst opponent for running backs in the Eagles right now. He does have the 2nd best schedule moving forward after that game, though, which is going to be fun for Cook owners. But I'm going Kamara, Cook, and Jones out of these 3. Jones is on a hot streak and playing an easy opponent, and Kamara and Cook are must starts. So Kerryon, he's a favorite of mine, but he still has to be benched of those 4 guys. We got Agent. I'll be honest, I don't even know the difference between standard, full point PPR, and half point PPR. Can you please explain? Of course I can, no problem at all. This was one of my main issues when I started in fantasy as well. When people just assume that you know things. For me, it was best ball. I was listening to a podcast back in the day, and they were best ball. Blah, 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 blah. Freaking if I know. But standard scoring means that you only get points for yards, touchdowns, and the like. PPR means that you get points per reception. So as soon as your player that you have catches the ball, they get a point. And in half-point PPR, they get half a point for each reception, which is the system that I prefer the most. So in PPR, points per reception, and half-point PPR, players that catches the ball becomes a little bit more valuable, and especially running backs that already score more points. So if you have a running back that catches the ball, back in the day, it used to be the Chargers guy, if you want to help me out, Delanie Woodhead. He would be amazing in PPR and terrible in standard just because he's caught so many passes. And so players tend to differ a little bit. With full point PPR, half point PPR is a little less relevant. It just adds a little bit more to pass catchers, and I feel like it's a little bit more balanced. A guy that caught 8 receptions for, 20 yards should not, in my book, have 10 points. I feel like that's very unbalanced or imbalanced. But half point PPR, it doesn't get as out there. But that's pretty much the gist of it. Excuse me for that. Having some allergy issues. Sean, hell yeah, got you. Thank you so much. Mellow fan, thank you for sharing. That goes for everybody who shares this. I'm truly appreciate it, and I'm working on some giveaways as well for the future to have for everybody who like, share, and stuff like that, to have a little bit of a bonus. But we should do some more shout outs. I see Clamped, I'd never shout you out. Welcome to stream. So happy to have you on board. We got TX Eagles. Welcome to the stream. Happy to have you here. Dan DiMarino. What's up, Dan? So happy to see your name show up. And we got some more questions coming in from TX Eagles. Larry Fitz or Kenny Golladay? I think this one is going to be pretty even. Golladay. TX Eagles, is it PPR or is it standard scoring? I keep misspelling Larry Fitzgerald. There we go. I'm going to take a sip of coffee and wait for Eagles to respond if it's standard or PPR. Oh, that's good coffee right there. Agent, yeah, you've been saying standard when it's been in full point PPR this whole time. Oh, that makes a lot of difference. A lot. It's like full point PPR, it changes everything. Like that's something we'll look over. We'll definitely look that over for the future when you have questions. You've been saying standard. I think NFL.com changed their standard to PPR to be more like everybody else. See if we get a question or a clarification from Eagles here if it's standard or PPR. But let's just assume that it's standard. Higher projection for Golladay. About the same risk. About the same floor. Higher ceiling for Golladay. Pretty easy opponent for the easiest opponent for Fitz, which is fantastic. But I'm still high projection. About the same. Higher ceiling. Higher boom chance for Fitz, but when the ceiling is that much higher, I'm cool with that. And so Kenny Golladay in standard scoring. Let's look at the PPR. 5 receptions for Golladay, 6 for Fitz. So it's still going to be Golladay just by a sliver over Fitzgerald in PPR and then standard as well. Where are we? We are Dan DiMarino. Let's go. I have Gurley and Devontae Adams out this week. I have Robert Woods, Stephon Diggs, Jarvis Landry, Matt Breida, Chris Thompson. Should I bench any of these guys to play Malcolm Brown or DK Metcalf? Let's see. First glance is me wanting to bench Stephon Diggs for Malcolm Brown. even though he has a very tough opponent, Malcolm Brown. How does Metcalf? I did an analysis of Metcalf. I only think he's going to catch 2 balls, which is not too fantastic in PPR. He doesn't match too well against the Browns defense. So I'm not too excited about him when you take in a holistic view of his situation. Let's see Malcolm Brown versus Diggs in PPR. I got Diggs for 3 receptions and Malcolm for 0. Much easier opponent for Diggs. Higher floor, low ceiling though. Higher boom chance. In PPR, you can make the argument to start Diggs over Brown. But I'm not going to. I'm going to stick with Brown on this one. Even though he has the toughest opponent in the league for running backs right now. I would still go with Robert Woods, Malcolm Brown, Jarvis Landry, Matt Breida, and Chris Thompson. If that works for you. You might need... I don't know how it works with receivers and flex for you. I wouldn't change Matt Breida or Chris Thompson for Malcolm Brown. And I wouldn't change any of your receivers for DK Metcalf. Thanks to the PPR points for Diggs. If that makes sense. Yes. So the only trade I would make is to put Malcolm Brown in for Stephon Diggs if that is possible. I'm trying to make it as clear as day what I'm trying to say. Welcome to the stream, Jamil. Can't pronounce that, and I'm gonna butcher it. So I'm just gonna call you Jamil. I hope that's fine. So happy to have you on board. Demetrius, what's up? How's it going? Please, if you enjoy this live stream, hit that like button and share on social media. It helps a ton with growing the channel and providing even more fantastic content. And let's get back to it real quick. Or should we do... It's 12:35. Let's do a quick read from our sponsor. If I can find that. So, tired of losing on DFS salary cap sides? With our friends at Prize Picks, you can turn that fantasy sports knowledge or my fantasy sports knowledge into cold hard cash. No sharks, no endless hours of research unless you count mine. It's just you against the projections. You choose over or under correctly on a player's fantasy point projection to win. Use promo code CSD. New members who sign up and make their first deposit get free 2-pick entry to win $25 and 25% instant match on their first deposit up to $4,000. You can find a link down below in the description. And there's even more info down in the little square down below. I know it should be down there somewhere. So check out myprizepicks.com. And let's get back to some more questions out there. Jamil, should I start Will Fuller or Adam Thielen in PPR flex? Adam Thielen has a high projection. He has a little high risk, but that's fine. Has the higher floor, lower ceiling, but that's okay. In this regard, he has the 6th easiest opponent, 4 wide receivers, and he is predicted to catch 4 receptions and have the highest scoring in PPR. So I would start Adam Thielen in PPR. I would actually start him in standard as well, but I would start Adam Thielen over Will Fuller. And I'm doing so in DFS this week. I'm starting Thielen in 2 or 3 of my DFS lineups. We got Melofan wants to know... Oh, thank you for that question, Jamil. Melofan wants to know if Calvin Ridley, Malcolm Brown, or Terry McLaurin in PPR. This is going to be interesting. Ridley has a lower projection than both of them. McLaurin has a 9 projection. So he has the highest prediction, lowest risk, higher floor, higher ceiling, highest boom chance, easy opponent. and predicted for the most receptions. Terry McLaurin would be my pick of these three pretty easily, actually. Malcolm Brown has a good situation, but he's playing the worst opponent for running back to play right now. I expect them to pass a lot. And this is even with adjusting for Gurley out, that he ends up with 8.8. So that's something to take into consideration, while this is just Terry's prediction in general with a very low risk. And especially in PPR, I have McLaurin catching more passes than both the other two. Demetrius, yeah, I don't know what happened to your comment. It just says, "Yo, what's up?" Start two with McLaurin. Let's get McLaurin back up there. Michael Gallup, Robert Woods, and Larry Fitzgerald. Is this PPR or standard, Demetrius? And let's shout out Z Phil. What's up? How's it going? Welcome to the stream. So happy to have you on board as always. And see what Demetrius say about this one. It's PPR. So Michael Gallup has the highest prediction, lowest risk for McLaurin with the second highest prediction. These two have the highest floor and they have the highest ceiling. They have the highest boom chances. They have not the easiest of opponent. Larry has that. In PPR, Michael Gallup becomes my highest projected in standard and PPR of these. So I'm starting Michael Gallup. You need 6 receptions, 5 receptions. And it will have to be Terry again. Even though Larry has 1 more reception, he's so far behind in the floor and ceiling. Both have easy opponents, so I don't want to make too much of that he's playing the Falcons when he's playing Miami. So I would start Michael Gallup and Terry McLaurin of these 4 in PPR. Gallup is, again, if you follow me at CSD Fantasy on Instagram, you can find more, not hot takes, but quick takes on players that I would like to start or stay away from. This week I looked at Gardner Minshew, Michael Gallup, A.J. Brown, and Chris Thompson, where A.J. Brown was the guy I think you should be very careful with jumping on the hype train for him. I see that you missed Tyler Boyd, and let's get him up there. Can he can actually out-maneuver McLaurin in PPR. So I will go Gallup and Boyd. I will go Boyd over McLaurin in PPR. He is predicted for so many more receptions. 8 receptions compared to 5 for McLaurin. It was only 5 towards 6 with Fitz, but when it's 8 towards 5, that's a couple of extra points. So I will go with Boyd and Gallup in PPR. Yes. Boyd and Gallup in PPR. What do we got? Zeville. PPR need 3. Brandon Cooks. Odell Beckham Jr. Whoa, 4.2 protection. That's terrible. Calvin Ridley. Will Fuller in PPR. And you need 3 of these. Let's look at the receptions real quick. Wait, am I going to bench OBJ for these 3? Yes. 4.2 projection. He has lower risk, well, not lower than Ridley. He has the lowest floor, not lower than Fuller, but then he has 10-point lower ceiling than Ridley. He has the toughest opponent, low boom chance, no bust risk, but that's understandable with that low. So, no, this is... Beckham's stats are just terrible right now. But I'm usually a proponent of starting your studs, but when your floor is set 0.4, because it's adjusting from last year as well. It's not just the last 4 games. If you played last year, I'm adjusting your floor compared to what you've done in the past as well. So if you struggle in the first 2-3 weeks, you're still going to have a high projection in week 4. because of your floor from last year. So somebody like Devontae Adams that struggled early on, Adam Thielen early on, they would still have a higher projection because they've done so in the past. But OBJ, no. Tough opponent, low amount of receptions per day. Well, 5, but the other ones have 4 and 4 and 6. So I'm starting Fuller, Ridley, and Cooks, and I feel terrible about it. Terrible. But those are mine. Oof, that's harsh. See, Phil, if you're not feeling comfortable sitting OBJ, I wouldn't do so personally if I don't feel it to be right. But the numbers say you should. That doesn't mean that you should as a person if you want to have fun or if you want to feel good about your starting lineup. But the numbers say to bench OBJ. Demetrius, who should I start at flex with Kerryon Johnson, Devontae Freeman, or Tevin Coleman? Let me get some water. We got about 15 minutes left of this live stream. It's been a fantastic show so far. I've been enjoying it so much. If you enjoy it, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Please share on social media to get the word out there so I can create even more and better content for y'all week in and week out. This is Demetrius, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. Kerryon Johnson, Devontae Freeman, and Tevin Coleman. And he clarifies that it's PPR. Perfect. Kerryon has the highest prediction. He has the second highest risk. He has the highest floor and second highest ceiling. Devontae has the lowest ceiling and lowest floor and toughest opponent. But he is predicted for 4 receptions. So all of them end up pretty evenly in the reception department. So let's just look at the standard points to decide on it instead when all of them end up at the same. So it for me, that tells me to start Coleman and Kerryon, as Devontae will only have to lean on the receptions to be high scoring, while the other ones, if they get a reception or 2 more than I projected, you're definitely golden. So Coleman and Johnson over Devontae Freeman in PPR and standard. And that was Demetrius. Thank you for that one. Touchdown for running back Bucks. 2-point good. Jameis got it. 37-26. Holy crap, that's a lot of points. Poker Lemon, welcome to the stream. So happy to have you on board. Jared, what's up? Welcome. So happy to have both of y'all here. We got more questions as we're rolling towards the start of the 1 p.m. games here in the on the East Coast. So what? I lost the question. Poker Lemon, Damian Williams or Joe Mixon? Damian Williams. Bam. Mixon has the highest prediction. He has a higher risk, lower floor, higher ceiling. No bust risk or boom chance. Easy opponent. What's this PPR? 4 receptions for Williams versus 2 for Mixon. So Mixon has the highest prediction either way. These are not guys I'm extremely excited to start. But I will start Joe Mixon thanks to the higher projection. He has a higher ceiling. He has a much easier opponent. But I'm not excited to start either of them, if that makes sense. So out of the 2 evils, I'll go Joe Mixon. He has a very easy opponent. Very easy opponent. 4th best opponent for running backs in the Ravens right now. And they might just decide to move away from the running game in Kansas City. Where am I reading? We got Agent, Carson Wentz or Russell Wilson. Full point PPR. Love it. Carson Wentz or Russell Wilson. I love when people add PPR to quarterbacks question. But it's going to be Russell Wilson. He's been He was one of the guys that I talked about early on in the preseason that you should draft because he was criminally underrated on his ADP. And if you did so, you're smiling all the way to the bank right now. Projection for 25 points, 49% risk, low for that type of projection. High floor, high ceiling, low bust risk, low boom chance. But when the ceiling is 35 points and you still have 2.6 boom chance, that is incredible. He has the easier opponent, and both of them are projected for 0 receptions. Okay, that changes pretty much everything. No, it's still Russell Wilson. Definitely think you should start Russell Wilson over Carson Wentz. Excuse me about that. These allergies are killing me. We got Demetrius again. Should I flex Larry Fitzgerald, Terry McLaurin, Devontae Freeman, or Kerryon Johnson? Sorry, this is the correct question about flex. Fitzgerald. Bam. Are these the ones? I'm just gonna double check. I feel like I missed one. Robert Woods. So Kerryon is the highest predicted here. Was this... This is PPR. All of them are... Well, that's a lot of receptions for Robert Woods and Larry Fitz. Easy opponent for Kerryon as well. He has the highest floor. He has the second high ceiling, high boom chance, easy opponent. I'm starting, if it's only one, I'm starting Kerryon Johnson over these ones. Did I miss Tevin Coleman? No, Coleman wasn't in this. It's Kerryon Johnson here. And then I saw another one including Kerryon. I should just... And then you had Tevin Coleman. Okay, that was you, Demetrius. Tevin Coleman. One reception versus Kerryon's 2. I feel like I said Kerryon Johnson before. I hope I did. I really hope I said Kerryon to you with the Kerryon, Freeman, and Coleman. Because it's supposed to be Kerryon Johnson. I really hope I said Kerryon to you, Demetrius. Sometimes I mess up and it's a lot of names. We got Jared wants to know Case Keenum. I think that one is a very dangerous pick. Phillip Rivers. That's not how he spells it, is it? Rivers. He has one L. Or Baker Mayfield. Case Keenum to me is a very dangerous pick. They might as well put in Colt McCoy or Dwayne Haskins at any point. Even though they have an easy opponent. The second easiest opponent for quarterbacks. I still prefer to have Phillip Rivers in the game over Case Keenum. He has the high projection. Just a little bit high risk, but much higher floor. About the same ceiling. Higher boom chance with the ceiling. I don't want Baker Mayfield right now. 3.2 floor. 9.4 projection with highest risk. I'm actually starting Phillip Rivers of these three, even though he has the toughest opponent. I trust him to be more productive than the other two right now. Especially when there's a chance that you might pull Case Keenum, which is always dangerous. You don't want that happening to your quarterback. Mello, thanks for streaming. Thank you for joining in. I appreciate that a ton that y'all are here. And like I've said before, if you enjoyed the stream, please hit that like button. But I'm gonna keep answering questions because we only have 8 minutes left. We got Poker Lemon. Did I miss one? Keenum Rivers Mayfield. No, that was the same one, Jared. Okay, perfect. Poker Lemon, Flacco or Mayfield, and you're very welcome. Very welcome. Joe Flacco or Baker Mayfield. Flacco has the highest prediction. Does have a high risk, but he does have a higher floor and ceiling. Higher boom chance, a little bit high bust risk, but that's fine. They roughly have the same opponent, but I'm starting Joe Flacco over Baker Mayfield. Baker can't be started right now. Like 9.4 projection for a quarterback with 48%. Like look at. Sure, this is like MVP, but 25 with 49% risk. 9.4 with 49% risk. It's night and day. You cannot start Baker Mayfield right now. I'll rather start Joe Flacco. And I don't want to start Joe Flacco. That's how badly I don't want to start Mayfield. And Mayfield needs to have 2 good games in a row for me to put him back into contention. We got David Luce. Welcome to stream. Happy to have you on board. We got Larry Fitzgerald and Tyler Boyd or Adrian Peterson. David, is this PPR or is it standard? I'm gonna talk standard until David clarifies real quick. No PPR, so standard. Standard scoring, highest prediction for Boyd, lower risk for Larry. Perfect, thank you, man. Lowest risk for Fitz. Higher prediction, lower risk for Fitz, higher floor for Fitz, about the same ceiling, higher boom chance for Fitz, and easier opponent with Atlanta over Baltimore. So, and very easy opponent for Peterson, but a lot of risk, and he has not shown me that he's the number 1 back there. I'm going Fitz over Boyd on this one, thanks to the lower risk and high boom chance. Fitz over Boyd, and Peterson is uncomfortable to start. I said it before about the running backs in Washington right now. They're 1 week wonders, if anything. And this would be the week that you would start them, but over Fitzgerald, I wouldn't. Fitz has such a great matchup against the Falcons. Where did I go? David, we got Z-Phil, Carson Wentz or Kyler Murray. Carson Wentz, and you got Murray right now. I believe you have the right player in. He has higher risk though, but he has a higher floor. High prediction, easy opponent, high boom chance. I will take the risk. It's a lot of risk, but I will take it. I will take this risk, man. Z-Phil, I will take the risk with the higher boom chance and the easiest opponent in the league for quarterbacks. That easy opponent, when it's 25 versus 1, you kind of gonna give it a little bit of edge, kind of a little bit of an edge to Murray over Wentz. 13 likes, Mello. Thanks for keeping track of the likes. 14 likes now. Please hit that like button if you enjoyed the stream. And David, what tool is this? This is my own tool. It's actually just in a Google Sheet where I compile statistics and analyze data for fantasy football. So I just put in a name and all my numbers come out for a player. And it's an algorithm that I've built myself, and I'm tweaking week in and week out to make it even more accurate and provide even more and better fantasy content for y'all out there. We got Demetrius asking about Michael Gallup and Larry Fitzgerald. It's a lot of Fitz question today. They say you want a part of the Cardinals game due to high scoring. Yes, they say that. But I still want more parts of Michael Gallup. He has a higher projection. He has somewhat the same risk. Higher floor, higher ceiling, higher boom chance, about the same bust chance. I think I've talked about these before. He has more receptions if this is PPR. But I want Michael Gallup over Larry Fitzgerald. And no problem. We have 2 minutes left. Shane, welcome. Haven't seen you. Terry McLaurin, or Damian Williams in PPR. I believe I have 5 receptions for McLaurin and 4 for Williams. High projection, lower risk, higher floor, high ceiling, higher boom chance. I want Scare Terry over Damian Williams. Ooh, that's it. Awesome. Thank y'all so much for joining me here today. I know I've been dealing with these allergies. I hope that I haven't been too annoying. Thank y'all so much for joining. It's been a fantastic show. Thank you for all the likes that you hit. We hit 15 likes. I believe that's a new record. I appreciate that so much. If you enjoyed this content, please subscribe to the channel as well for more weekly content. And on Tuesday, the new waiver wire article on csdfantasy.com. Thursday, you got the score projection and risk analysis on csdfantasy.com. 9 p.m. on Wednesday, we're back with the live show / podcast in the Fantasy Rabbit Hole right here on the channel. Please join us for that or catch it on demand afterwards. I haven't decided if I'm doing a head-to-head video next week or 2 more fantasy snapshots. Please leave comments on other videos, which one you prefer and which players you prefer. We had James Conner and Joe Mixon come up as a suggestion a few weeks ago, but they've kind of taken a backseat. Not the most interesting running backs to look at right now. So let's figure out some more interesting players to look at. We got Serum. I'm going to get you on this one real quick before we sign off. Mark Andrews, George Kittle, higher projection for Andrews, lower risk, a little bit lower floor, but much higher ceiling. Tough opponent, easy opponent for Kittle. Both predicted for 6 receptions. I prefer Mark Andrews over George Kittle right now, especially if Kittle is a little bit hurt. I hope I got all the questions in. Go Vikings. No, go Cowboys. But everybody, good luck unless you're playing me. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. As I said, if you enjoyed the content, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you again next week.